So how's everybody's week been? You've been very busy. I hear that. Same for myself as well. And of course, I know everybody's heard of the latest situation with the bombing that happened, or the so-called bombing that happened on the train down in Parsons Green recently. In my back of my mind, that when I hear these things, personally speaking, I just think, okay, just another incident, and I don't even bother read about it or hear about it or delve into it, because I was listening to the minister today and the time on what must be done, and it was number 27, if anybody wants to look at it, and it's called "Why We Made Devil," and one of the things that he said in it that made me think of is the why we made the devil. But the point that I'm trying to get across is that he mentioned that there's so much pain in the world, there's so much hatred, there's so much rape, there's so much corruption, there's so much death, and why did God put us through? Hasn't God got the power to overcome all of these things? And he said, yes, he has. But then, because we're on the road for purification, to actually perfection, to perfect self, all of these things has to happen. And I made it look at it along the lines of what's actually happening in the world. There is a washing out. It's a flushing out, because there's so much of it now. Everywhere you look in the news, there's always something. Regardless of where it is in the world, there's always something. So it just made me think that, it's good to keep up with current affairs, because we're told to keep up with current affairs, what's happening in the world. But it just made me think that, if you're on the course that we're on, in terms of turning our minds away from their world, we're on the right path. We're on the right path. Because their world is all about destruction. It's about the shedding of blood. It's about what controversies we can conjure up again. Because all of this, an 18-year-old young man that was in Kent, was on the train, they've arrested, I should say, another young man, another one that's groomed. It's the same scenario, it's the same thing all the time. So it just makes me think that, when is it going to end? Is it going to end? It's just going to be the next one, and then it's the next one, and then it's the next one. And what do we do out of it? It's the same thing where they're investing money into it. Somebody's making money out of this. That's what I don't know if I'm thinking it in the right way, but then I'm saying somebody's making money out of it, because people are just making money out of the security situation. But one of the things that I was looking at was, it says here, the BBC bosses have accused Boris Johnson of lying about claims over the 350 million Brexit. That, they were talking about the NHS, the 350 million. And I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, when they made a program called P.O.W.E. in Britain? P.O.W.E. in Britain. These people just lie, They lie, and actually, the messenger said in the end days, they're going to tell you exactly who they are. They make a TV program telling you P.O.W.E. in Britain, and man is now telling you that. So one man is casting out another. BBC casting out the Foreign Secretary. This is the Foreign Secretary of Great Britain, and the BBC are telling him, "You're lying in public." It's serious. That's they don't. For all the years that we've been in the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad, I've never heard them say in public, Minister Farrakhan, you're a liar, you're lying. Never. They've never printed it, you're lying. Yes, but the BBC was going to turn around and say to Boris Johnson, you're lying, you're lying. You see, these people are telling you exactly who and what they are. Behind closed doors, the shenanigans that go on. Is the Supreme Wisdom says, why does the devil doesn't want us to know about his filthy affairs? And his filthy affairs are always happening behind closed doors. Always. But now it's coming out. It's all coming out. The teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that which has been our foundation since we came into Islam, into the knowledge. And, you know, when we actually think of why the world as it is in the situation it is, and you read we study into the teachings, if it wasn't for the teachings, what would we know?
That's right.
What would we know? What would we know? How would we actually view the world if it wasn't for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? We have to ask ourselves the question, because if we took it from the Daily Mail newspaper that I've got on here, or the Sun, or what they said to you on the BBC, that's where we get our information in. And if some of our brothers and sisters who, you know, like, for instance, our Rasta family, the Hebrew Israelites, they will come with certain knowledge, but to take it beyond, because I always believe the teachings take us way beyond any other. It really does. And that's why we have to expose it to the general public and ourselves, the masses. Because it is so profound in terms of where we actually sit in the world. It tells us exactly the beginning, middle, and end. And that's what the minister represents in terms of the truth that he brings, backed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fard Muhammad. You know, if it wasn't for them, where would we know and put the picture together, put the puzzle together? There's so much in terms of what's happening in the news. Sometimes I like I said before, that news that comes on every day, we have to be very careful in how we vet it. We really do. And when we actually look at how, again, the Brexit is something that is coming up more and more. And what you find is now, when they're talking about Brexit, nobody's got a clue. The thing is, there's no confidence. There's no confidence in the negotiator. And the European people don't like the British. And they don't like one another. And they're making it plain. Yes. I'm saying, where do we sit in that? Where do we sit? We don't sit anywhere. We're just there. Nobody has any confidence. 1 minute they were saying, the Conservative government was saying that David Davis was an idiot. He was an idiot. He doesn't, but he's the negotiator today. He's the negotiator for the UK's exit. But prior to that, a few months ago, they were calling him an idiot. And who are we pinning our hopes on? An idiot. And what's the deal? They don't even know themselves. They don't know themselves. They say that the whole negotiation now is so far from secure in terms of what they're going to get. They don't know. They just don't know. And I do wonder where we as black people, where do we actually fit in this? I remember a brother saying to me, oh, we got to vote to leave Europe. We got to leave. We got to leave Europe. We got to vote to leave and you know, stand up as in Britain as British. And I was like watching him and I'm thinking, are you sure you know what you're saying? He said, yeah. And I was like, okay. But I was saying, but what about our people? No, we got to do the same. We got to. And I was like, wow. But it just made you think. He's like, but don't you think that people got enough already? They got enough already. I said, the Caribbean, they've raped all of that. They've done Africa. They've done this. They've done that. But where are we? He said, no, we still got to vote for Britain. And I just thought, wow, okay. I'm just saying, don't you watch the news? Don't you? Fib in Britain. They make a TV program telling you this is how we do things. Everyone's conning one another. And then they want to tell African leaders they're the most corrupt. I'm just saying, you've got to weigh up yourself, innit? You've got to weigh up yourself. We all got to make our own judgment on that, you know? But, you know, it makes me think, who are we following? Who's our guide today? You know,
Who's our rider?
who's our guide? That's right, that's right. You know, if it wasn't for the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah, where would we be? We have to ask ourselves, you know, and praise be to Allah for that which has been exposed to us. Coming in 1930, Master Farad Muhammad by himself and revealing the hidden truth, the real hidden truth that has destroyed our people for many a year. And now we're coming into a knowledge that will help us move in a direction that will hopefully establish the real kingdom of God.
Yes.
This is what the aim and purpose is.
Yes.
What we do today is to build something for our children's future. The children today, young people today, is at war. And that war is fought on all levels. We have to keep up with the modern time. The elder generation have to keep up with the modern time. I'm not totally au fait with it personally. I was at one point, but the way the children move with using mobile and this, that, and we got to move with it. Some of the knowledge that these children are flying with, it will blows my mind. But this is what's happening. The war is on all levels. Just the other day, another American police officer was acquitted for killing our brother. Right. Got away free of charge. Free. Per usual. Another one. So we know that the attack is for real. We know that when you actually hear a police officer say that you're only going to kill blacks, you're actually putting that out in the world. People's view of black people then is very negative. So we're creating the barrier to protect our youth. That's the aim and purpose. And to show that guidance that is required for them to take them into the hereafter. Just a little chat before we get into the main speakers for today. We're back again. This is the third week covering Message to the Black Man. This is the topic, Message to the Black Man. Why we need the message. Our beautiful brother Leo is going to be bringing that for us. But before he comes on stage or onto the platform, I'm going to bring up our beautiful sister who's going to share a few words with us. Please give her a round of applause, our sister, Brother Muhammad.
In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the most merciful, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all praise is due forever. And our beloved Saviour, the Honourable Elijah Muhammad, our exalted Christ, who sought out the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, our leader, teacher and guide. In their names, I'd like to greet you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Oh, this week has been such a trying and thoughtful week. And there's been so much that has been going through my mind in regards to our work and just how serious I'm prepared to take on this mission. And what it means for me as a student of the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad, and what it means in regards to this message that has come to us and that has been deposited in a mighty book called The Message to the Black Man. And in weighing up these truths And where I stand in all of it, my mind travelled to happiness and what it means to be happy. My mind travelled to the hereafter.
Come on.
My mind travelled to how we value the teachings, how we value the message and the messengers, how much I value being a messenger. I remember in one of the study guides, Brother Leo highlighted that we are messengers and that we are prophets. But we are the messengers and the prophets that has been amalgamated into the one God. That message that they came with has been evolved. And it's been evolved so beautifully that I can stand here today and say, yes, I was there when they tried to crucify my Lord. I can say, I am here, and they are trying to crucify our Lord. I can look at our teachings when it describes the kingdom of God in the beginning and how beautiful it was. I can stand here and appreciate the teachings when it describes the hereafter. The Honourable Minister Luz Farrakhan, in the Time and What Must Be Done lecture, part 15, he describes the hereafter as being a place where there will be no hunger. He described a place where we will be free, where we will be happy, where will there be no disease, no homelessness. What a beautiful place. What a beautiful place. And I was thinking about the hereafter that he describes to us. And I was putting myself in that place. And I was looking at what changes I would need to undergo in order to qualify myself to be a part of that hereafter. I was looking at the teachings and the role in which, as I said before, I play. The role that we in the Nation of Islam is responsible to replace, because the world that we are living in today is so opposite to the hereafter, that paradise, that heaven, that kingdom on earth that we are responsible to bring in. What transformation do I need to take on in order to be a party to bringing about that kingdom that we so desperately need and desire today? We have been given the blueprint of that kingdom in the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad. And there is nothing stopping us to take that on and live that blueprint other than ourselves. So I was looking at that today and during the week and just weighing all of this up and saying to myself what I need to do to reverse what has been done to me, reverse that mindset that Satan has so skillfully deposited in me. And you know, I grew up within a family of 10 siblings and my parents, and you know, I would say that I was one of the fortunate ones because I really didn't want for anything. Everything that I really asked Allah for, He gave me. I travelled. There really wasn't, you know, I had houses, I had cars, I've always had money. I've never really, if I'm being honest, really wanted for anything.
Come on, sister, teach on that.
I always yearned for a better and deeper understanding and relationship with God. I always knew that my being on this earth was for a bigger purpose. I've always been in the career of social work and caring for people, and I've never wanted to do anything else. I've always wanted to work with my people, and I've always worked with my people. So I couldn't even say that I was in a career that I didn't like. I used to sing professionally and I liked it. I came out of it because I didn't want to. I could see that as I was getting better, the environments that I was singing wasn't getting better. Do you know what I mean? It was taking me away from where I wanted to go. So I came out of it. And I thank Allah because when I came into the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad, I knew I was home. I knew I found a place where I had no intention of leaving. And I thank Allah that I am still here today. So in my search for belonging, I always wanted a deeper understanding of my relationship with God. And I not only believe, but I know that this is the place for me. I know that the teachings of the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad is for me. And it is my responsibility to digest that teachings and make it real for myself so that I can go out into the world and reconnect my people with this word. I also know that I have to first reconnect myself with the word first. So in doing so and trying to step by step, hour by hour, day by day, digest what I need to do first in reversing the hold that Satan has on me, in trying to be in a world but not of it, in trying to strip myself from what I know and to take on what I need to know in the teachings, to take it on, to live it. For me, right about now, I feel very vulnerable. But not vulnerable in the sense that I feel insecure, but vulnerable because I'm taking off layers of myself and I am not replacing those layers fast enough to maintain a level of stability then. I know that I won't fall and fail and sink and die. That I know. Because the teachings is for me. My Father has prepared it so well that I know I won't die with it. I know it's a living word. However, the speed in which it takes for me to appreciate and understand and digest and comprehend that word determines how unstable I am at any given time. So I have to place myself in the hands of my God. I have to submit myself to His will that I don't fully comprehend as yet. And it's getting used to that new expression. It's about getting used to something that is pure. I'm not quite sure if I'm making myself clear. It's like being in a new environment and trying to get used to how the switches work. It's like being in a new environment and getting used to the space. Being in a new environment and getting used to the smell, the sounds, the people, or the lack of people. Do you know what I mean? Being in a new environment and getting used to yourself in that environment. It's like when I was looking at the hereafter and the way the minister was explaining the beauty of the hereafter, and then looking at the mud and the filth that I am currently in. I have to shed that filth so that I can prepare myself to assist in the making and the bringing about of that hereafter that he just described. So I'm saying I am here in the filth, and within that filth I have to take off these layers that I am used to, and while I'm doing that, I have to then deposit the pureness of the word that the minister is describing in me, so that I then can prepare that new hereafter. Because the filth cannot, under any circumstances, be in the hereafter. So while I am journeying towards the hereafter that has been described in such a beautiful way that I want to be a part of and help build, I have to be taking off layers of filth to get to that pure and innocent beauty that Allah has deposited in me, and feed on the word as I am journeying and taking those steps. I have to feed on it so that it will grow stronger within me as I am taking off, ripping off those layers of filth. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. So I'm tearing off the filth and being true to myself and acknowledging and appreciating that journey and having a full because it has to be a conscious thing, because I don't intend to take it to where I'm going. That has to be left behind and then burnt, so that there's no trace of it ever again. So the mindset that I know I need to have in order to bring about this peace, this harmony, has to be a mindset of war. Has to be a mindset of determination. Have to be a mindset of success. Has to be a mindset regardless to whom or what. But it's very, how can I put it? It's a challenge. Because the forces of evil that is against God-likeness is 100% wicked. 100% wicked, and I can't take it for granted that it's any less. So when I wake in the morning, I have to know that the fight is on, and I have to keep going regardless to how I feel. I just want to read quickly from the Holy Quran, Surah 55, the Beneficent. Hold on, sorry. And it reads, In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. The Beneficent taught the Quran. He created man, taught him expression. The sun and the moon follow a reckoning, and the herbs and the trees adore him. And the heaven, he raised it high, and he set up the measure, that you may not exceed the measure, and keep up the balance with equity, nor fall short in the measure. And the earth, he has set it for his creatures. Therein is fruits and palms having sheafted clusters, and the grain with its husks and fragrance. Which then of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? Man. He created men from dry clay like earthen vessels, and he created the jinn of a flame of fire. Which then of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? Lord of 2 easts and Lord of 2 wests, which then of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? He has made the 2 seas to flow freely. They meet. Between them is a barrier which they cannot pass. Which then of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? There come forth from them both pearls, large and small. Which then of your bounties of your Lord will you deny? And his are the ships reared aloft in the sea like mountains. Which then of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? And he goes on and on and on and on and on of the beauties that he has created for us. And we have been given the ability to help him in that creation, in the hereafter. And you know, Brother Alvin spoke about our condition now. And I was listening to him when he was speaking about it, and why Allah had to make us go through what we went through. Because we were in paradise. We were in paradise, but we didn't value the paradise that we were in. So for us now, who only know filth, devastation, murder, rape, do you understand? That's all we know. We were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. That's what we know. So when Allah now has come with the pure word and has given us such a beautiful example in the Most Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we want him, we want to be like him. He represents heaven on earth to us. So we can reject this iniquity that we know, that we have been shaped in, and we can crave for the hereafter. And we can value the hereafter so much. Why? Because we know what Satan's world is. We know that hell because he has made us into it. And we must hate it with a passion and love heaven and our example with that same passion, but from an opposite perspective. We thank Allah for the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am.
All praises be to Allah. All praises be to Allah. for Master Fard Muhammad. We thank Allah for the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because if it was not for them, we wouldn't and couldn't stand a chance in hell. In hell. We thank him and we love them so much, because now we have a chance to build heaven. All praise is due to our brothers and sisters. Thank you once again for your time and your patience. And I pray to Allah that, something that I have said this afternoon has touched your heart, so that you can embrace these teachings with an open mind, and so that it can set root in you and give you a foundation to take on a new expression, take on life and live as God has intended us to do so. I'd like to bring up to the front our brother Leo Muhammad, who is studying very hard, and we hear the improvements week by week, that he is making, and the journey that he is making, and the love that he has for us. When he speaks, we know that he is studying. And that's the key, is to always be a student, as we are taught by the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we thank Allah for our brother, and I'd like to bring him up now, Brother Leo Muhammad. Please pray for him.
Thank you, beloved family. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the one God to whom praises are due forever, we are forever thankful and grateful to Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And we thank Master Fard Muhammad continuously for raising up the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank them both for leaving among us the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan Muhammad. My beloved brothers and sisters, I want to greet you in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic, a language that used to belong to us. Assalamu alaikum. Wow. Praise be to Allah. Can we please put our hands together for Brother Alvin Muhammad? And our beloved sister, Sister Barbara Muhammad. And for the crew who got our room organized and together in record time again. And for all of us, for just being here. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Praise be to Allah. My wife and I, I'm trying to think as I'm saying this. It's my daughter's school. My wife and I have been at different events at my daughter's school over the years. And what we've noticed on each occasion that we've been there, and different presentations have been made within the big hall, is that the teachers, be it the headmaster or the form tutors or whoever is presenting, they have no skill in terms of galvanizing the audience, the parents and the children. And so people come up and they make presentations and they do things and there's just no applause. There's no acknowledgement. There's no, and it just makes everything really fall flat. And so I'm saying that to say, when I'm asking you to applaud Brother Alvin or applaud Sister Barbara or applaud the crew or applaud ourselves. It's deliberate. I'm saying, beloved, we need to cheer ourselves up.
Yes, sir.
We need to be a happy people.
That's right.
Because we live in a world that's designed to depress our spirits. Did you know that you can't become who you're supposed to be with a depressed spirit? It ain't gonna happen. You know that happy people achieve great things? So never ever, beloved, never become shy of raising an applaud, making some joyous sounds. It works wonders. It's actually magical when you really understand what it means. It is medicine, brother. And so, you know, I'm just not in this down spirit that this world is, you know, trying to impose, and in truth has historically imposed on us. Now, I'm really excited. Every time I have an opportunity to come and stand before black people, I get very excited. Why? Because I know who you are. I know who I'm standing in front of. Every single one of you, bar none, including those of you who are my biological children. I'm very humbled just to stand in front of you because I know who you are. You're not just my daughters or my niece. You're far more. You're far more than who you actually appreciate that you are. My young nephews at the back there, Brother Clid's sons. You're far more than who you think you are. And the purpose of these meetings is to inform you so that you don't go through life ignorantly, not knowing who you are. We just restarted the WILA new term after the summer holidays. And the theme of the new term at the WILA is, who do you think you are? Some of you may be familiar with the television program that asks that question, where they're looking at what's called ancestry. Who do you think you are? And we are determined to give those young boys who attend the WILA, the West London Young Leaders Academy, a true, deep and profound knowledge of self. Because in the absence of a knowledge of self, we cannot achieve the things we need to achieve. This is our brochure. Check me out afterwards to get one of these. Because also at the moment at the WILA, they're fundraising so that we can take the work that we're doing onto the next level with the young people. So if you want to make a contribution to that, please see me afterwards for one of these, and you can go to the website and do what you can to help them. Now, beloved family, you know, this subject matter, message to the black man, this is, if I told you that there was a message to the Chinese man, you might be a bit curious, but I wonder what the Chinese are saying to one another. You know what I mean? If we're intelligent people, we would be curious to know what would be a message to the Chinese. What would be a message to Asian people? What would be a message to the white man? And by the way, there is a woman who, having become acquainted with this, wrote message to the white man. I have a copy at home. It's very deep. Based on message to the black man, she wrote message to the white man. And in message to the white man, she reiterates the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and addresses white people to point out to them their deep racism and how they've got to change unless they want to see message to the black man utterly fulfilled to their detriment. This white woman ain't playing in her message to the white man. But I want to really emphasize to us, beloved family, that this book is not something that we must make a mistake of overlooking. It's very, very important to every single one of us in this room, and every single one who may be watching this or listening to this at some later stage than today. Today being Sunday, the 17th of September 2017. And I wanted to begin today, beloved, by asking the question: do you have any idea what it would be like today if it wasn't for the coming of Master Farad Muhammad? Because I know we don't necessarily really consider how much his coming has influenced this world so far, and how much his coming will continue to influence this world and will ultimately completely transform this world.
That's right.
Look, let me do it maybe on a little personal kind of level, and I'll say it like this to you in terms of my own self. See, beloved, my children, 2 of my children are here today, and I know that they haven't got a clue that if it wasn't for the coming of Master Farad Muhammad, there would be no Sauda. There would be no Jannah. I want you to understand this. I don't want my children to be grateful to daddy necessarily. I want you to be grateful to God. I want you to understand that when that man came, and what that man gave, was it inspired black people to begin a process of not conforming to this world, but being transformed by the complete renewal of our minds.
That's right.
That made us, Barbara, man, I'm telling you, I just love when you start teaching, sometimes you come out with some things. It made us determined to rip filth from off of ourselves and become a new man and a new woman. And through that process of renewal, you now have a Sauda Muhammad sitting in the room. Look, praise be to Allah. It's not to say that a little girl might not have been born with the name Karen Jones. God Almighty. But not Sauda Muhammad. Not Sauda, by the way, means one who is born or one who has a dark complexion. See, think about before Master Farad Muhammad came. Before Master Farad Muhammad came, black people were ashamed of being black. Black had been made something dirty and filthy. But here comes a man who teaches us about blackness on another level, so we become proud of who we are. So now my baby is born, and I'm looking at my baby. I'm not running away from blackness. I'm saying, whoo, that's Sauda. That's where you get words like Saudi Arabia from. Saud, it means black. Come on, man. Because that's the land of the blacks, by the way. Despite the light-skinned Arabs ruling the roost at the present time and being very racist a lot of the times towards black people. There would be no Jannah Muhammad. Jannah, which is where you get the Arabic word Jannah, or heaven. He'd been born and given a name, heaven. The Prophet Muhammad said, heaven is found at the foot of women. You ought to be a heavenly gift to this planet, man. Not no lightweight woman, no lightweight girl flipping around on these streets out there, wallowing in filth.
Come on.
Come on now. I want us to think today, beloved, because I'm telling you, man, what we got, ooh, if we get it, those of us who are a little bit more mature and those of us who are younger, if all of us get this, it's all over for Satan and his world. Make no mistake about it.
Come on.
Question. What's the most meaningful and profound message in Message to the Black Man? What is the most meaningful and profound message in Message to the Black Man? Do you want to volunteer? Go ahead, brother.
Accept your own, be yourself.
Yeah. It is. My brother said, accept your own and be yourself. You're 100% correct, brother. But I want more. Yes, ma'am.
God came in the person of a man. Not only a man, Master Father.
We're getting even closer. You're all right. Yes, ma'am. Self first, then others. You're all on it. Yes. Who is God? Ooh, now you're rattling the windows and the doors, brother. You're trying to create some kind of storm in the place. Look, beloved. Look, beloved. My goodness. Let's go to the book of scripture of the Muslims, the Holy Quran. Let's go to Surah or chapter 51, verse 47 to 48, wherein it says, "And the heaven, we raised it high with power, and we are the makers of the vast extent. And the earth, we have spread it out, how well we prepared it." Think about this language, man. Come on now. Come on now. Listen to the language. I'm going to read it again. "And the heaven, we raised it high with power, and we are the makers of the vast extent of it. And the earth, we have spread it out, how well we prepared it." Okay. Let's go to the Bible. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6. Got some Bible scholars in the room. And this scripture says, "Ye are all gods, children of the Most High God." Look, shall I just go home now? The most profound message in Message to the Black Man. Let's go to page 48 in Message to the Black Man. And on page 48 of Message to the Black Man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad makes the following statement. He says, "Being the first people of the earth, we are destined to be the last. We are the creators and makers." Oh God, man, God Almighty. Let's go to supreme wisdom. Am I building a case here? We got to do it like a lawyer. We got to lay a solid foundation. See, beloved, understand this. When the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan asked the question, how strong is the foundation? Can we survive? It's not, again, when Sister Barbara was at the front, she talked about a challenge. See, the minister is challenging us to get in touch with our foundation. How strong is your foundation? Can you survive? Beloved, I'm looking online the other day because there were storms, there were hurricanes. One of them called Irma, I believe. And I saw video posted online of water rushing over what looked like some type of dam or levee. And in the water were hundreds of cars. Just cars, like they're toys. Just being washed by the water. I saw buildings in the path of these waters and the cars being washed, and I saw the building standing there with the water going around the building and pushing the building, and then eventually I saw the building itself begin to move. And the building got washed away. And the water kept on rising and coming. And I'm saying, man, look at water. Water that's so heavy, so mighty in its flow that it was compromising the foundations of the buildings. And they were being washed away. How strong is the foundation? Can we survive? Let's go to the supreme wisdom lessons given to us by Master Farad Muhammad. Every one of us, when we are a new convert or a new member to the Nation of Islam, we are required to memorize and recite 10 questions. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
What's the first of those questions? There you go. Who is the original man? Listen to the answer. The original man is the Asiatic black man. Let's just stop there for a second. Because again, most of us, when we hear Asiatic, we start thinking about Asian people. We start thinking about Pakistanis and Indians and others. Look, beloved, in America, they refer to Chinese-looking people as Asians.
That's right.
English is a brand new language. It's really, really new. That's why when you are trying to find roots to English words, you have to go into other people's language. You got to go into Latin, you got to go into German, you got to go into Sanskrit, you got to go into all, because in terms of English, it has no roots of its own. It's what's called a bastardized language. It has no inherent root. It's taken from others. It's grafted. It's deep. So, if we get too arrogant on the word earth, an English word, it's showing we're demonstrating our ignorance. You know, because some people think, well, that's what it's called. No. There was a time, very ancient time, when we referred to this globe that we live on as Asia. That's what we call it. That's what the original man called it. And when we say the Asiatic black man, you know, have you ever seen those kind of space films where, you know, the aliens, when the aliens land, and they say, you know, who are you? You could say to those aliens, we are the Asiatic man. Because this is Asia. You've just landed on Asia. You've just landed on the planet Asia. That's the real name for our planet. And so the answer to the question is, the answer says, the original man is the Asiatic black man. The maker. Come on, man. God Almighty. See, beloved, look. You know, I love the spooky people. I really love the spooky people because they can't spook me out. Right. You know, when they come with their spooks, I don't get excited. I don't really waste too much time trying to argue with a spooked out person. See, because all I have to do is point to that blue cloth and say, who made it? Okay, I'll point to this blue floor with speckles in it. Who made it? I'll point to the wall. Who made it? I'll point to this black cloth covered in star and crescents. Who made it? I'll point to this. That used to be a tree. Who made it? I'll point to the chair. Plastic and metal that once used to be in the earth. In the form of what looked like just pure dirt, but somebody separated out the plastic parts and the metal parts from the other parts. Who did it? I want you to point to the thing that we did not make. But, see, today, the black man ain't making nothing. Teach. Maybe we're making a spliff. The black man's not making anything today. But does that mean that he wasn't the original maker? The black man has been unmade. You know that in the mafia, when they qualify in the mafia, they become what's called a made man. That's deep. Look, beloved, we are the original makers. We made the planet. We grew it. We established this universal order. We fashioned the heavens. We put those stars out there. Today, white men, Asian men, other men, they're making stuff, man. The cars we drove up in here today made by maybe some Japanese, if we've got a Japanese car out there, maybe the Germans, Benz and others. The Englishman's making cars, right? You know, lots of people making cars. I think the Indians have started making cars now. There's a couple of some African people who have just decided to make a car. Muammar Gaddafi made a car back in the day. They kept that very quiet, but he made a car. Looked like a Ferrari. Very serious. First African car. But long, long ago, we had vehicles. And in the future, we're going to make vehicles again. But we were put to sleep.
Come on.
But message to the black man is a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. Wake-up call. All praises be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. The maker. The owner. Stop right there. My God. Did you observe your children when they were growing up? See, when you give your child something, give them a toy, give them a Spider-Man toy, or give them something. That child takes ownership. Let another child come in the room and try and take it. All hell will break loose. That's mine. It is the nature of the human being to own.
Yes, sir.
To own. Do you know that the world in which we live today, we hardly own a damn thing? By design. They will tell you don't even own your own children.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because the government takes more charge of our children than we do. I remember when at least 3 of the children, I remember when they were born. I remember shortly after they were born, we got a letter from, the government saying that they would open an account for the child. And, this is like, and so it'll be topped up over the years or something like that, and we can put into it and they will put into it. And me and my wife says, what kind of something this? By the way, none of you got the account, okay? Because we never took it up. You're saying, why the government telling us about they want to open an account for our children where they're going to give them some money and top it up over the years, and it's like some kind of... See, that's it's like a bribe. And of course, if we're poor and we haven't got much money or whatever, we think, oh my God, thank you. They're so, the government's so nice. No, beloved. It's to get you into a contract with them where at the end of the day, they can actually just come and take your children. Because, we've done all of this. Look, beloved. Ownership is God-given. The maker, the owner. Mm-hmm. We are owners. This planet belongs to us. But if you're stripped of ownership, we live in a world where lots of people have got mortgages and they actually think they own their house. According to my studies, beloved, when the government is in debt, that debt often owed to multinationals and international bankers and other nations, those people are the ones who actually own all of the properties. You actually don't own it, and if the debt was ever to be called, the chances are you could find yourself having to forfeit that which you thought you owned. That's why even bricks and mortar in terms of houses is not necessarily the greatest investment. The greatest investment is land. You've got to be able to show a deed that shows that you actually own the land. Because, everything comes out of the land below. The house and everything else, all of the material that we need comes from there. So, beloved, the maker, the owner, the cream. Come on, man. Anybody here drink milk? Anybody here drink real milk? There you go, I like those hands. Raw milk. Because when you get real raw milk, not that homogenized, pasteurized madness, but what I was growing up on in Jamaica as a child, we got it directly from the teat of the tit of the cow. What do we call it? The udder. Is that the right pronunciation? No, I never had the goat's milk, but I've tried it over the years. It's not too bad, but I actually prefer the cow's milk. It's strange actually, because I do hear so many arguments against the drinking of cow's milk. Lots of black people say that they're lactose intolerant, and you don't drink. Why are you drinking milk? It's for the calf. It's for the calf. And it sounds like a logical kind of argument. Why would you drink the animal's milk? It's for the calf of the cow. But you see, the way Allah works, beloved, He gives us all of this. The sun, the moon, and the stars, and the animals are for our use. Not for our abuse, but for our use. I've got some leather on my foot. It probably came from the hide of a cow. Is that wicked? No, beloved. It's the human being ingenious. How we use the animals and the trees and the fauna and the flora and everything for our use. And the Holy Quran in Surah number 2, Al-Baqarah, the cow, Allah describes milk as a pure drink. I want you to think about this. See, because the same one who will be criticizing the drinking of the milk will be there scooping up the honey.
That's right. There you go.
That comes out of the gut of a bee. Come on, man. Let's get real. It's all good. Allah has fashioned these creatures in such a way that he puts good in them for us. That's all it is. And if you take it in moderation and you do it the way he tells us to do it, it will be of benefit to us. It's a good drink. It's a pure drink. But not when it's been homogenized or pasteurized. It changes the whole constituents of the drink and actually can make it quite detrimental to health. But when you get that natural milk, you will find that when you leave it to rest, a cream or film will form on the top of it. That's when in all things which are natural, do these natural things. You know, a banana or an apple or anything, you cut it open, leave it for a while, you see it just turn brown. That's menolin that turns it brown. And you know, some of us, we see it turn brown, we fling it away. Oh, no, there's some stuff in that brown, man, that's good for you. Teach. How many of you eat the pips of the apple? Come on. Oh, yeah, man, good for you. Good for you. Fights cancer. It's got a little bitterness to it. That bitterness in the taste of the pip is actually arsenic. But it's completely harmless in that form. And it and cancer cannot coexist in the same place. It only attacks cancer cells. Horses and these kind of creatures, they don't get cancer until we mess with them. That's right. In their natural state, left to their own device, man, they're cancer free, beloved. That's right. It's only when we start feeding cows, other cows. That's right. That's what we do. Then we get mad cow's disease. Teach. Because it's a sickness. Teach. Milk, beloved, is where you get the cream. And the cream always rises to the top. He's the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth. In other words, we're supposed to be sitting right on top of the earth. He is the God of the universe, not the God of earth, not the God of Asia, which is the earth, but the God of the entire universe. Man, somebody said universe is. Well, we're taught that there are other life forms on other planets. But that this life form on this planet is the supreme of them all. That's right. Look, beloved, I've really kind of dragged this out a bit. Maybe I should have been going a little bit faster, but I'm really trying to emphasize how important it is for us to understand what is the most profound element and aspect of message to the black man. And that is, beloved, that the black man is God. Now, sisters, when we say black man, we're not being sexist. When we say black man, we mean black woman too. The black man and the black woman is God. I want you to think about this. Because as long as we keep looking out into the sky, at the ether, looking for a God, we are way off the mark. Right. There's another scripture that asks the question, how can you say you love God, whom you have never seen, yet hate the brother or sister that you see every day? Why would such a question be asked in scripture? Why would you have that equation between God and the brother and sister sitting next to you? Because the question is trying to give you the answer. God is not found in some invisible realm. God is found sitting right next to you, or every time you look in that mirror. You've got to understand who God is. Beloved, there are 13 sections in this book. 13 sections. The book consists of 330 pages. The book is profound. And I want us to really delve into it. There are approximately 130 Bible references in this book. Now, come on, beloved. I don't know how many Bible references you've got locked down in your head. We've got a few Bible scholars in the room. But beloved, don't you think it would be good if you could have 130 biblical references locked down in your mind, in your subconscious, and know the meaning of them? See, because enough people can quote Bible, but do you know what you're quoting? Message to the black man takes you there and beyond. There are approximately 128 Quranic references. How many of us know the Quran? You know, because again, we always hear the Orthodox Muslims will criticize those of us who are members of the Nation of Islam, that, oh, you're not real believers. You know, then they'll ask you questions. Do you not read the Quran? You know, do you not know Arabic? My answer to that is always, well, always remember that Shaitan speaks Arabic.
Yes, sir. That's right.
That don't make Shaitan a good Muslim. That's not necessarily the requirement. It'd be wonderful if we can learn it. We ain't got no problem with that. But don't think that that's the be all or end all. God is so wise that any language that you speak to God in, I think Master Farad Muhammad spoke 16. So those are the major languages. He is a master of 16 languages. And he can write 10 of them. That's deep, beloved. The other ones are all derivatives of those main ones. If you can speak those 16 and write those 10, you got it locked down. You know the entire language of the planet. Pure mathematics we're dealing with here. It's unemotional. This book gives you a guide to understanding the Bible and the Holy Quran. You know how many people open those books and are totally and utterly confused? You know that there are people right now running around thinking that Islam authorizes us to go out and kill innocent men, women, and children. There are people running around now who think that because we're Muslims, we must have an inherent hatred of a homosexual. When you don't, we don't. No, beloved. We hate that practice. But the people, we know that they're ignorant, beloved. We know that they don't understand. We know. Look at this, beloved. We know that the mind, I want you to think about your mind now. And when I say mind, I'm not talking about brain. Oh man. This teaching, beloved. The mind is so powerful that somebody thought, oh man, I want to make a microphone. Here it is. It began as a thought. Somebody said, I want to weave some material together and make a stripy tie. Here it is. But do we understand that it began as a thought? Somebody said, I want to make a baby. Here we are. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness. There was a plan. There was an execution of the plan. There ain't no accidents, beloved. Everything is by design. The mind is powerful. Do you know that if you're thinking that you are homosexual, I want you to hear me, beloved. If that's your thinking, if you've been drip fed that over a period of time, because you know they want to try and make out that Muslims are these horrible homophobes, but it was only a few years ago that homosexuality was illegal in this country. Can I get a witness?
Yes, sir.
It was illegal, beloved. There were witch hunts chasing homosexuals. Homosexuals, all of them had to stay in a closet. They could not come out. But now all of a sudden, they've got this newfound wisdom. And now everyone who has any objection, now they must be persecuted. As these wicked people. But you had it codified in law.
That's right.
Teach. We ain't got no power to codify nothing in no law and impose it on anybody. But the Bible and the Quran both say that it is an abomination to God.
That's right.
That means it's not a natural thing. Now, how can you prove this? He fashioned men and women. How do you happen to be in this room today? Was it because your parents were gay? No, beloved. No. You haven't got two mums, nor do you have two dads. You had one mother, one father. That's how you came to be. That's how I came to be. That's how every homosexual came to be.
Natural.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. But all of a sudden, no. Heterosexual, what's that? That's something I can throw away. No, I was born this way. Okay, fine. But you were born that way. You may not know the science that's been going into the food. You may not know the drip feed that has been placed into the people's minds to alter the thinking to the degree where if you can conceive it in your mind, you can bring it into reality. Did you know that you have the power to fashion your body based on your mind?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, beloved. Do you know that most sloppy, fat, decrepit people, they start thinking that way first? Right. You know, people who think, oh, I'm getting old. Yes. The person is 25, beloved. I'm telling you, beloved, before long, you're going to start looking old, beloved. You got some old people, beloved, who are so sprightly because they don't think old. You can refashion your whole being just based on your thinking. As a man thinketh. Thought is powerful. Thought is so powerful that the scientists say that thoughts are things.
Come on, that's right.
A thought can be weighed and measured. Ain't no lightweight thing. Thought is the most profound element found in the universe. It's the fastest moving element in nature. 24 billion miles per second. God almighty. Think about that for speed. That's how fast you think, or I think, or we think, if we're thinking right. So, beloved, I'm just saying, without going too deep into it today, because it's really not our subject, but I'm touching on it because I'm saying, beloved, that we don't believe in going out and hunting down no homosexuals, beloved. That's their business. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. Fill your boots. I'm telling you, beloved, it's just not our business. All we're saying is what the book says. Because we're believers in the books. Now don't condemn us for what God said. Now you say, well, yeah, that's archaic, it's old-fashioned, we're in the modern times now. Well, look, man, we're taught that there's nothing new under the sun. That's right. We're taught that God is the everlasting, the never changing. He changes not. There are certain things which have to be consistent. We ain't about to throw away the sun. Can I get a witness? Yes. We ain't about to throw away the moon. We ain't about to usurp the system that governs our life. That's how we all came here. Now just imagine if we were all to become homosexual. I just want you to imagine it. So now Leo is gay. My partner's a man. Think about it. You lot wouldn't be around here. That's the end of you lot, in the sense that, there'd be no new children coming on the planet. All the sisters become lesbians. It's wonderful, it's nice, it's love. They love each other. Where's the children coming from? Where's the children coming from? And I don't pretend to be an expert when it comes to homosexuality, but from my very basic observation, I see two women who claim to be lesbians, but one of them is super masculine. Butch. Why? Why do you have to act like a man? Because even then you can't usurp nature. I see two men together, but one of them is super feminine. What's it all about? Because you still got to follow God's pattern. He fashioned it that way. You're not against me or against religious people who object. You're against God. Just admit it, man. Be honest. Go to war with God. Leave me the hell alone. I'm not going to come and trouble you. And if I see you, I don't disrespect you. I've never gone out and disrespected a homosexual person. I know them. I know many of them. When I was working in the BBC, the person who used to dress and undress me between filming takes was homosexual. He's a gay man. He used to take my trousers off. I had no problem. I'm a professional. He was a professional. And if he became unprofessional, he would have known about it. Not with me. Don't go there. But as long as we're there to do a job of work, praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. But I would caution us and warn us as believers in God. This fixation with homosexuals, let me tell you something, beloved. They're not the only sinners. Some of us who claim heterosexuality, but then we're sleeping with a child, but we're heterosexual. Well, God don't like that either. Some of us are heterosexual, but we got some very strange behaviors, which involves maybe balloons or something. Who knows what we do? So I'm just saying, beloved, forgive me. Forgive me. I'm just saying, beloved, that this is not a day where we're setting ourselves up as a judge, jury, and executioner of any group of people. But what we are saying, based on what Master Fard Muhammad came to remind us of, because there is nothing new under the sun. that we are in fact the original man, the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, and that our time has come to retake our place on top. And in that process, a lot of people are going to be upset. A lot of people are not going to like it. They're not going to like message to the black man. They're going to call message to the black man reverse racism. We're the new racist. No, beloved. It is completely unemotional. It is just the history of our planet laid out in a way that most of us had no idea. We had no concept. When I was growing up, I wasn't looking for a message to the black man. I didn't know this was going to happen. But when it came, I had the little bit of intelligence enough to look into it. And when I looked into it, the truth on which my physiology, my body, my form is built resonated with the truth found in here. It made 100% mathematical sense. All praise is due to Allah. Praise is due to Allah. So I can't reject truth, because Jesus said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And what is it that we are seeking as human beings? Don't we want to be free?
Yes, sir.
Do we want to be constrained all of our lives under these draconian, crazy, man-made, man-fashioned laws, rules, statutes that when you examine them, some of the scholars say the law is an ass. Imagine a law like that. The law is so stupid that people refer to it as an ass because it don't make no sense. One law that contradicts another law. No, beloved, I would rather acknowledge the Creator's law. How about you? I would rather acknowledge that law that He put in place in the beginning for the governance of everyone. But guess what? He gives everyone free choice. And so, when people choose to go there or go here, leave them alone. But what's your choice? What's my choice? Because that's what counts. When the brothers and sisters were answering the question earlier on, what is the most meaningful or profound question? Somebody said, self first. Our program that we're trying to follow in the Nation of Islam is called self-improvement. The basis for community development. See, beloved, if you and I would improve self, automatically the planet improves. The hereafter that our beloved sister Barbara spoke about. After what? After the destruction of the present world order. Oh, Leo, that sounds like violence. I didn't say nothing about violence. You saw the earthquake. You saw the tornadoes. You saw the hurricane. It's coming down. You got to understand that FEMA hasn't got the resources. They haven't got it, beloved. And these things are going to... And it was strange, actually, because they said behind Irma was Jose. Yeah. You notice it all went quiet? Yeah. What happened to Jose? He just disappeared. They said that in the Gulf of Mexico, there was another one. I ain't hear nothing about them boys no more. Katia, was it? There's some stuff going on, beloved. And one major part of America, whilst that's flooding, is burning.
Yes, sir.
Burning, beloved. Hundreds of thousands of acres burning. But you think the news is telling you what's going on? Their financial markets are all over the place. And in this world, the motto is money makes the world go around. And their money is being totally and utterly devalued. Venezuela is about to come off of the petrodollar. The reason why Iraq was attacked and destroyed was because Iraq decided to come off the petrodollar. The reason Libya was attacked and destroyed because Muammar Gaddafi decided to come off the petrodollar and to create a brand new currency based on gold, the African dinar. Come on, look, beloved, see, there's a war going on in heaven. Heaven is not beyond the clouds. Heaven is higher thinking. They said we war not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. Oh, you didn't realize that the devil is up high as well? It's not just God that's in that high place of thinking. The devil is wickedly wise. And so in heaven, there's a war going on. The hereafter is another word for heaven. But we're taught that some of those demons are going to make it into the hereafter. Think about that. Oh, you thought it was all going to be over once we get into the hereafter? No, beloved. Still got some stuff going on. Still got work to do. Praise be to Allah. Beloved, let me tell you something as I close. Please understand, we must study. I thank you, Sister Barbara, for those kind words that you said about myself. But to be honest with you, we must really stop claiming the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan if we're not about studying. Force yourself to study. I'm so proud of my daughter Sauda. She reads like a fish swims. Just one book after another, just, and she boasts in it. Look, Dad, it's done. Some big ticks up, and she started yesterday. No, not necessarily the right content. Some of the stuff, novels and some foolishness about horror, and people that chop up each other. And she's moving in the right direction. Read the right things. Read that thing that will feed your soul, that will expand your mind and make you to come to the proper appreciation of who you are. Ye are gods, children of the Most High God. Every single one of us in this room is a God. We have no concept of what we can do. But beloved, believe me, you can do miracles. Yes, thank you, beloved. We can do stuff that will, the world would look and say, my God. Don't you ever look at your mobile phone sometimes and think to yourself, gee, look at this thing. That you can just tap a couple of minutes. You can look at anything in the world. Yeah, myself and Brother Clid last night, we was up late. I watched people fight, boxing. I tried to resist, but he pulled me into his mouth. And at a certain point in time, he and I were reflecting on an old fighter that lived in this country, Charlie Magri. And no sooner said, most of you wouldn't have even heard of him. He was a little flyweight. He was a warrior in the ring, British fighter. And as we said his name, we just hit Google, Charlie Magri. And it showed us Charlie Magri today. And I'm saying, beloved, in this day and time, we have no excuses. It's at our disposal. Feed your mind. Grow. Expand. Challenge yourself. We can accomplish great things. These things that we're currently using, the lights and the cameras and the microphones, beloved, they haven't reached perfection yet. The only people that can perfect them are us. Because we don't have no synthetic imagination. We have the original imagination. We can create from nothing. Other people can only create from what's already here. So they can only make, we can create. And so, beloved, I've just looked at a few of the notes this week, but we'll go a little bit deeper, inshallah, next week. Message to the black man continues. I want to thank you. I pray that something that Brother Alvin said, something that Sister Barbara said, something that I said, has sparked your imagination today and will make you to look deeper into yourself, because that's the message from this. It's about you. It's not about others. It's not about anything else but you. So look into you, beloved, and become the best you that you can possibly be. And when you get weak, when you get weary, when you have a little doubt, this is the power of a brotherhood and a sisterhood. We must be here for one another. Yes, sir. And don't be afraid to call for help. Don't be afraid to say, brother, sister, please help me. I've got a bit of a problem. And you'd be surprised how much help will come. Yes, sir. But you reach out. This is a self-help group. Thank you for listening. May Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Please welcome back to the front Brother Alvin Muhammad.
Prayer time. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praises are due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Master, the day of requital. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favours, and not the path of those upon whom wrath has brought down, nor of those who go astray. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. Safe journey home.